Welcome everyone, this is Michael with Evergreen Memories and Stamping Up, and I wanted to share a quick card with you today made from scraps. And I should have done the first video that shows the scrapbook pages I made, and then this video because these are leftover scraps from the workshop that I did putting together some layouts. But I used this paper called Lovely and Beautiful, and watch for the upcoming video about the scrapbook pages. I kind of just glanced over this when I was going through this new catalog, but this paper is gorgeous and it's got a lot of gold in these papers and it's just so pretty. So I wanted to share that with you because I did have some leftovers from my scrapbook workshop. These are the die cuts that go with the stamp set. And so I took those and I made these two different cards, and they look a little bit different, obviously, because you don't always have the same scraps. And I actually pulled in some scraps from another paper packet here on this one. So let's move those aside and I'll bring out the pieces that I have here. So first I just have my white willow cardstock. That's what we're going to stamp and mount our quilted square on. I have a 3x3 square here, and then I have two 3x3 squares that match. And then I use the Stylish Shapes dies, which are a staple in my craft room. And I did these 3 squares. Now I know this one is the smallest. I think this is the second smallest. And then this goes up to from there. So it's fun to put this together. Then I have a little bow that I've made out of some ribbon. And I'm gonna get started and show you how I made this card. So first I took some ink. This is my Smoothie from Close to My Heart, which is my most matching ink because I did not have Calypso Coral in my stash. Still building my ink stash. And this is my sentiment. Now it came from this product of the month, Fabulous Sayings. This was the product of the month from January 2026, but guess what? There are still some available. So if you make a qualifying order, even though it is February, you can choose this as your product of the month. And it has some really fun sentiments in there that I will be using over and over and over again. And here I'm using the Sending Love sentiment. And now I can just set that aside and close up my ink. So all I did was go around the edges with my ink and then stamp my sentiment. So now let's build our card or our quilt square. And truly all you need is scraps, and different colored scraps really are what you need. So this is going to be my base square, and then I'm going to take these 2 squares and I'm going to fold them in half with this points matching here and here. I do like to use my bone folder because I want this to be nice and crisp. I'm going to fold this one as well. Can you see the gold in that? So pretty. And it's going to show on my card. I'm hiding it for now, but it's definitely going to show once we do this. Now, one of the other things that you can do is, since this is a 3-inch square, you can mark where your 1.5 mark is in here. So what we're gonna do is add these at 1.5. I'm gonna wing it because that is my style. Not all the time, but today that's my style. So I'm gonna try and create shapes, these 4 corners here that are all the same shape. That's kind of how I know that I am in the middle. Okay, so there is my 2 pieces put together there. Now I'm gonna take my green piece. Here it's showing you another bit of that gold. This time we're gonna hide that one. And I'm gonna put this centered in here. And I'm just trying, again, I am an eyeballer, so I'm trying to make sure that I have the same amount of space on all four corners from my piece here. And then finally, I've got some Calypso coral. I'm gonna turn that square on point and add it to the center there. Now you can see this goes over a little bit, and in this technique that we're gonna do, we're gonna hide that. You could do one of two things. You can take your scissors and just clip those corners off. I was not that particular, and I just folded mine over, and then I brought this point over, and again, used my bone folder here, and then I'm gonna do it again here. I happen to have long fingernails right now, so it's easy for me to pick up that paper and just fold it. Struggling to get that paper apart. There we go. And then I'm gonna fold that. And again, using my bone folder, lay that down. Now you'll see in the middle, it's not a perfect matchup with these points, but that's okay because we have one more square to add. So I'm gonna add a little bit of adhesive here. And then again, this is gonna come in and be on point. And I'm gonna give it enough framing so it's equal all the way around there. Now this piece that we set aside is gonna go on my card base. And it has 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So I'm gonna add that here. And then this is also, now you're gonna see, this has a little bit that's gonna go over the edges, both on the top and the bottom, side to side. I guess not on the bottom, but on the top and the sides. But that's okay because we still have that extra card base there, and so it's still gonna fit in our envelope. Get this. And I like to look at centering it left to right and on the top there as well. Now I'm gonna take a glue dot and I'll add a glue dot into the middle here. And then that's where my ribbon is gonna go. This is also a great way to use up your scraps of ribbon. I just happen to have this ribbon from a project long, long ago, and the color matched perfect, and so I was able to add that. And then finally, to bring the pops of gold out, I'm gonna use these loose gold gems and add a little bit of detail. So let me pour a few of these out. I am out of mini glue dots, which I would use most of the time, but this time I'm gonna use my, what do we call this? Fine tip glue pen. So it's got this really nice tip on it with a needle that goes in it when you store it, so the glue comes out without getting clogged. The top comes out without getting clogged. It comes out kind of fast, so just be very careful and gentle with that as you are adding your drops of glue. And I'll put those on. And then I'm gonna use my take a pick tool, but I'm gonna use up this pick up part, and I'm gonna grab my jewels and I'm gonna add them onto my glue spots. And I love using these because it just makes it so easy to pick it up and put it here. And you guys, there it is. So easy and so fast. And it really comes together. What I would recommend is if you wanted to have a lot of scraps, just start cutting squares and use those squares to then come together just like you would if you were a quilter. Some of you might be a quilter, putting together your colors and designs. And these happen to be mostly, except for this one, from the same paper packet, but they don't have to be. Thanks for stopping by and watching my video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and make sure to subscribe so that you will see the following videos and ones that feature this paper packet, lovely and beautiful, in a scrapbook workshop.